The Wolf of Wood Street at Wakey White said favourite ever fullback is Martin Holland for Wakey. Safest pair of hands in Super League at the time.
I've got
Not
to say,
one I can say anything about.
Not a name I remember. Let's try and get him up on Rugby League project. Well, he played till 2003. I don't know why I don't remember him. But I don't. I'm sorry.
I mean, Wakefield have that forgettable quality, don't they, generally?
I can't imagine many Wakefield games were on TV back then for me to have watched. That's all I can suggest. I don't know what else to suggest. Cutthroat Jake at cut_throat_Jake. This is one for you that you've already mentioned, Paul. He says, best fullback I've seen was E.T. We signed him as a centre in the late 80s, but due to injuries he moved to fullback. Andrew Ettinghausen was fast, safe under the high ball. Often he'd field the ball whilst heading downfield. It would move through hands to the wing, and E.T. would pop up on the winger's outside shoulder to take the final pass and race away to score, finishing the move he'd started. Yeah, I always thought Ettinghausen was an outside back rather than a fullback, so I guess it's that Leeds era, Paul, was it, where he made his name as a fullback, because, like you say, he had competition from the likes of Gary Jack at the international level.
Yeah, he played a few positions. He played, like, obviously fullback, wing, centre, but as a kid, you know, when they first brought out Rugby League games, he was always the person I had as a fullback. I don't know why. He was just I think from watching Australian games on Sky, he was just one of them players that stood out, who took the high ball, who was always on the end of a pass and stuff. He's just one of them great players.
It's before my time, unfortunately, but it's a name that I remember, and I'm sure, like I say, I've seen him on team sheets as a centre or a winger in rep games, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, for me, again, I only have fleeting memories, but my memories of him are that he was an exceptional athlete. As you said, he could play anywhere in the kind of back line, and he happened to shine at fullback, but he was equally good at centre or wing or wherever he kind of put him, really.
Fat Marky at PH Fat.
As in fat and small.
Fat spelled PH. Fat Marky. Must be a Bradford fan. I can't explain anything else. Said, okay, Michael Withers. All the games Michael Withers played in, be like Michael Withers and Michael Withers. So, Alan, Michael Withers, I mean, I think he played 3 or 4. I think he played 3 or 4 times in grand finals from fullback. There was that one where he won. Did he win the Harry Sunderland? I guess he did. He scored a hat trick against Wigan. He made me very teary-eyed on that occasion. So talk about Michael Withers and how well he played for the Bradford Bulls.
Yeah, so Michael Withers was on my list. A fantastic support runner, very solid kind of player at fullback in terms of kind of the way that he would kind of sweep behind the line. But I mean, he's probably best known for his kind of support in attack. And I think at the time, we were better going forward than, we were good in all aspects of the game at the time, but yeah, he was particularly good in the attacking game. But yes, Michael Withers is God was a phrase around the terraces at Odsal, and Michael Withers is still a god for me. Fantastic player at the time, kind of unheralded signing. I think we signed him from Balmain, I think, from memory. And yeah, he fit into our team and did a fantastic job for the, obviously it was during our glory years, so fans will obviously have very fond memories of him. But yeah, Michael Withers is a great fullback in the Bulls history.
I can sort of remember him playing in the number 6, but playing at fullback. I'm guessing that was because Robbie still wanted to pretend like he was a fullback.
Yes.
And pretend that
well, he wanted to be number 1.
Those memories of years gone by where he was full length in it with his stupid flash of blonde across his hair.
No, but I mean, Withers was, a no-nonsense kind of guy. I met him a couple of times, really, down-to-earth person. But yeah, just a great player in a great team. So we're always going to look back at him with fond memories.
Matthew Speakman at Matt Speakman 20. He gave some Wigan ones, so I'll take this one, shall I? He said Wigan have had some great ones: Radlinski, Tompkins, Bowen, French now. But for about 6 months in 2010, Amos Roberts was the best player in the comp by a landslide. Horrible collision with the post on Easter Monday essentially ended his career and opened the door for Sam's move to fullback. Yeah, Radlinski was the fullback of my, early days going to watch Wigan, from starting going regularly from 98 onwards, sort of thing. And so obviously Radlinski's an idol to me, and when I actually got to meet him in person, this part of some other stuff I do volunteering at the club and stuff, it was just such a buzz. And I'm not gonna lie, fanboy absolutely for Chris Radlinski there. And we've talked about some safe hands. I always felt like Radlinski was a safe hand, but Radlinski, I don't know what you guys think. Radlinski was part of that era of support running fullbacks. It felt like the early noughts, kind of with the support running fullback era. And I think Wellens was a bit more of that type of player as well than people like Tompkins or who we later got to see players, like Luke Dawn as well, in that same era as Tompkins, Ratchford to an extent, as to those link players, those players who played as an extra halfback almost, even though they might have a bit extra pace or footwork to get on the outside of players as well. They were essentially all-round ball players more than safe, dependable defenders who could offer us good support players in attack. But I'd say Radlinski was top of the lot for me in that regard. And then Sam Tompkins was really exciting. Do people remember Amos Roberts' brief stint as a fullback for Wigan at the start of the 2010 season?
I know the name, but I can't say that 6 months is etched into my brain like it's to Matt.
I think that's when I was in Crusaders Mania. I think that's when I had my Crusaders shirt, and I've still got my Gareth Rayner Crusaders shirt in the cupboard somewhere, signed. Brackets worn twice.
Well, there was a game where my mindset about our Wigan team switched, and I started to think we were going somewhere. We were terrible at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. It felt like we never won there. And we felt like luck always went against us, or something always went against us, and it never felt like we were ever going to win in that stadium. But we did win in that stadium in 2010 with Amos Roberts at fullback, and this was one of the most exciting games of fullback I'd ever seen until Bevan French this season, really. And Roberts scored 2 tries. One of them was a sort of inside ball in the middle of the field where he just took a ball at speed and sort of ran round the outside then from there, so went inside out round the whole Warrington team to score, and that was Amos Roberts' most exciting moment in a thing, and one of those fullback performances that will always stand out. Obviously Radlinski's 2002 Challenge Cup final performance where he rose off his sick bed to he had his foot cut open, the infection squeezed out, and the rest is history, as they say, to win the Lance Todd that year.
Yeah, I mean, my recollection of Radlinski, particularly as a fullback, is his physical presence at fullback. As a bigger player, and I think that's kind of. I mean, maybe it's just because he was constantly stopping potential breaks for tries for us. I don't know, but yeah, I always recall him as a presence at fullback, which I think
it's interesting because my memory of him is almost completely flipped. Mine is of him being a sort of rapier-like blade cutting through and being used as that kind of breakthrough. So I think it shows that his all-round game there, that we've both got that sort of contrasting. Yeah,
I have all those memories of him catching balls and making cover tackles, none more so than the one on the line in that with his foot almost in that in that Challenge Cup final. But the overriding memory, I like to think of the positive, exciting stuff. It's the support play. and how many times he popped up over Terry Newton or Adrian Lamb's shoulder to take a ball and score. And then there was that great try where he worked with Steve Renouf to score that try against Bradford in the climax of the 2002 season. What a moment that was to be a Wigan fan. But that's my Wigan moment talked about. Who's next? Who wants to go next?
Yeah. So Wayne Housted at Wayne_Housted said greatest was Billy Slater. End of. Certainly the greatest at sliding in two-footed to try and break somebody to prevent a try. Definitely the greatest at that.
Paul, Billy Slater, do you think he was the greatest ever?
No, I think there's been better than him. He was really good in his position, but I think there's been better fullbacks.
I think I'm going to... I agree, and I think some people are going to not be happy with me when I say this. I think Billy Slater's overrated. Billy Slater was great, but he doesn't deserve to be in the conversation of the greatest fullbacks of all time, in my opinion. And I mean, there's players from years and years ago that we won't be talking about at all because we didn't see them play and we don't know just how good they were. But we've all seen Billy Slater play. One thing about Billy Slater is I think he had high-profile mistakes in him. And I'm thinking World Cup final 2008.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I'll never shake moments like that from thinking Billy Slater, great, yes. Greatest, no. Not for me.
It's interesting. I mean, clearly... the guy was like shit off a shovel, you know what I mean? He was quick, and a lot of his reputation for me was kind of based on his first Origin match, the chip over and the take and
when he played
the
on
hype
the wing.
built, didn't it, from there really? Yeah. And he was in, a great team, as whether that team was legal or not. Well, we know it wasn't, but it was a great team, and he was a key part. He was always talked about the awesome force and the big four kind of for Melbourne, and he was part of that. But arguably he was possibly the least talented of the four. But that's saying something, because the other three are unbelievable players, or still are.
Yeah, I don't know about least talented, but I certainly think least likely to lead a team by him. Like if you took him, Cronk, Inglis, and Smith and put each of them in different teams, I would say Slater would be the one who would win the fewest matches for his team out of them four, if they were all in different teams.
Yeah, because both Inglis and Cronk have done that, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've gone to other teams and led them to grand final wins.
And
Smith obviously didn't have the chance to, but he's done it in a different generation.
Grand finals without the rest of them.
Yeah.
Phil Nadin got in touch about Billy Slater as well. He said, I suppose you have to include Billy Slater, no explanation needed. You definitely have to include him in this conversation. But for Wayne to say greatest, I can't agree.
Do you know what I think we need to include in this conversation from an Australian point of view?
Yes.
I think if you look at both defensively and what he could do to link up an attack and join in, I think he's been sort of underrated. He's probably been passed by because he was in contrast to Billy Slater, but I think he's up there, and I think he just often he was playing in a team where he was more number one, number two.
It was
Brett Stewart.
Okay, yeah, Manly fan in the house, everyone.
But if you think about it, he was carrying the team more times than not in that Manly side.
You had the Stewart brothers era, and now you've got the Turbos era, haven't you? Really, they were both very much similar in the impact those pairs of brothers had on that Manly team to what the Turbos have on the gay, I guess, much less successful Manly teams to date, but still, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think. Go on, sorry.
No, all I was going to say was he was unfortunate because he was his era clashed with some great other fullbacks. So he didn't get the international recognition that he probably deserved. He didn't get his state of origin representation that he might have deserved. And as a result, he's a manly legend, but not necessarily recognised. And you're right to point him out because he